Welcome to the Mother-Daughter-ish podcast. It's your mama's favorite podcast.
And the podcast your daughter always wanted.
This is Miss Dawn.
And Angelique.
From the 713. Houston, y'all. Get connected and stay connected weekly as new shows debut on Sunday, Wednesday, and please check out our Saturday Out and About showcases.
Enjoy the show. Please subscribe, like, share, comment, and tell every woman on the planet that you know about our show.
Here's our show for today. Hey ladies, this is your official invitation to join us on the Winner's Circle Cruise in January. We're going to meet in Fort Lauderdale and go through Key West. And then from Key West, we are going to go over to Bimini, Bahamas. If you have not been to the Bahamas in the last year or so, you've got to go. It is so wonderful, so lovely, so awesome. So far, we've got a good group of ladies that are already signed up. The max to go is 24, unless something wild happens, but 24 is the max. If you received the flyer from me, you know that you need to go ahead and get your deposit down. So we'll spend the first day in Fort Lauderdale getting on the cruise. It'll spend a day on the water. We'll get over to Key West, spend a day there. That'll be day 3. And then for day 4, we will be in Bimini, Bahamas, and we will spend an entire day there where we will just foo-la-la, foo-la-la, foo-la-la. And the final day, we will be back in Fort Lauderdale. I do suggest that you get to Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, the night before the cruise. I have seen people be left, so don't be one of them. Now, if you want to leave the day we get back, the cruise is going to be back. By the time you get off, it'll be 10. So if you want to book you a flight, book it after 10 or noon. You just saw the beautiful rooms that we are going to be booking. Yes, every room will have a balcony unless you declare otherwise. Now look at that water. Can you tell me you don't want to be there? Look at all those good markets. You telling me you don't want to be with the Winner's Circle? The Winner's Circle is for women owners of businesses that want to get together with other women from all over different places to be able to mastermind, to talk about our businesses, to grow, to support one another, to hear others' perspectives on how you can do things different in your business to be the best business and to grow your business. Anything that you can't talk about with other people, this is a great time. Join us on the Winner's Circle Cruise. Hey, mothers and daughters, I'm back again with an amazing interview today. And this is someone that I've been wanting to interview for quite a while. So you guys are going to help me to welcome Miss Joslyn. And she is coming all the way from Grenada. And I'm excited to have you here today. Thank you for joining me today, Miss Joslyn.
It is such a pleasure to be here on the Mother-Daughter show. So excited to be with you today.
I'm excited to have you here because I feel like the last time we really touched bases online was probably like almost 2-3 years ago. And so I was like, I'm going to keep this lady on my Facebook page because I really want to connect with her in other ways. And, professionally, you're a businesswoman, I'm a businesswoman. So I just thought, it's just really good to have people all around the world that And so I thought that it would be really important to introduce you to my audience just because of what you do. Now, you have a initiative wellness Institute, and I would like to know more about that. First, tell me, how did you come up with the name for the business? It's kind of self-explanatory to me, but tell us how you came up with the name for your business.
Okay, well, Intuitive Wellbeing Institute, it came about really, I say, from my rock bottom moments where I had to tap inside of me, where I had to listen to my intuition and learn. So I got involved in metaphysics.
Yes.
And through this, because it really helped me personally to help myself, to build myself as an individual. Mm-hmm. I was in business before. Mm-hmm. I was always in wellness, but that's one of the reasons. That's where Intuitive Wellbeing started. And the name came about from a mastermind, one of the ladies within the mastermind. I told her the nature of the business. And she said, well, this sounds like intuitive. And, so we said intuitive well-being educator. And then, of course, it came right back to the Institute here.
I like that. So to introduce you properly, it's Reverend Joslyn Farray Pierre. Did I mess anything up?
No, you didn't. You got it
I was
so
looking at the
perfect.
name going, yeah, I'm gonna just let her introduce herself because I'm gonna mess up her name. Is
You got it
what I was
perfect.
thinking about. So, I like what you said about, intuitive because I promise you, every time I do not follow my intuitive sense, I always get a slap on the hand. I can have things that'll, come up in my head and something will happen and then this other thing will happen. I'm like, I'm glad I listened to myself, or why didn't you listen to yourself? How did you get yourself to the point that you could tap in and start to listen more intuitively to yourself so that you could then spread that message to others?
I had some tools. The tools. Well, first of all, I want to say I felt that I didn't have a choice, but I got, and in that moment, I got some tools.
Yeah.
And one of my biggest tools that I use in helping me to tapping and trust myself is meditation.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and for me, it started with walking meditation because I know many folks will think, meditation, it's a lot of folks still think it's woo woo, and
Yeah.
especially from where I am.
Yeah. Well, I've even had
Friends,
people, I'm in the States and I've had people say to me, well, yoga and meditation and all of that is of the devil.
mm-hmm.
And I'm
So
like,
yes,
okay. And I just say, oh, okay. Okay. Because I can't, that's their belief and that's fine. And my
yeah,
belief is my belief. And so I'm not going to try to change what somebody's belief in, but I've literally had people tell me that meditation is demonic. And I'm like, okay, because I'm not going to argue with anybody about something that
exactly.
works for me. So, yeah, yeah. So I get what you're saying when you say woo woo. Yeah,
Yeah. I smile and I said, it's a matter of time because for me, years ago, I was afraid of it. Not that I didn't want to do it, but based on the teachings that I had before,
yeah,
I was afraid. But that's one of my major tool that I use in terms of helping me to tune into myself,
yeah,
meditation. And of course, I use the senses like the flower essences,
yeah,
the aromatherapy, all those things really help an individual to begin to trust their intuition
yeah.
and to tap into themselves.
You are so right because it's not really easy. I know when I first started meditating, it took me 3 years. And the reason it took me 3 years is because I went cold turkey and I just wanted to quiet my mind. And I really wanted to tap into more of my intuition and more of my spirit and more of that. And so it took me 3 years because the first year I was just like, my mind is too busy. My mind is too busy. And I kept saying, if your mind is too busy, that means you need to do it even more. By
Yes.
by the second year, I was just like, okay, I could get it, but I couldn't do it in a public place where I could quiet my mind. I could only do it if I was home, everything was quiet, there was no sound or anything. Okay. By the third year, I could be in the airport and tune everybody out and go into whatever world I wanted to go into, and I can still do that today. And so it took me 3 years to get to where I was looking to be. So I think that for those people who think it's woo woo and for those who think it's demonic and all of that, I think maybe they might be like some people afraid to tap into their inner voice or their inner spirit or anything like that. And that is possible because I've heard people say, well, I don't, some people don't trust the voice in their head,
Yeah.
which I can
Yeah.
absolutely understand because sometimes even I question, well, now did you mean that? Duh, yes, I meant that. So, it's funny how we try to even battle with ourselves when our bodies know best. Our
Yes.
spirit, our spirit literally knows best for us. So, who are some of the type of clients that you're able to help?
Mostly, I deal a lot with leaders, leaders within there are some of the church in some of the churches.
Mm-hmm.
And I also, well, the thing is, most of my clients are just straight It's amazing because I never really zeroed in on this, and you're talking most of all of the leaders, because it's always a leader
Yeah.
contacting me either for themselves
Right.
or to do a program with their group.
Right.
So leaders,
Yeah. What type of programs would you set up?
most of them, they are personal leadership in relationship to self-care.
Uh-huh.
And I tend to focus a lot on what I call sacred self-care,
Mm-hmm.
where you get to be in touch with yourself, to develop that confidence with yourself.
Uh-huh.
The hardest thing, is for us to truly fall in love with ourselves
Right.
and to appreciate ourselves and give ourselves the things that we need. So that's one of the major components of what I do, personal leadership in sacred self-care or in self-care.
That is really important because we're our own biggest critic. I mean, nobody could say anything, but when we look in the mirror, we're gonna have something to complain about no matter what. Even if, oh, let me go change those shoes, they don't look right on my ankles or whatever, we will come up with that. How many years have you been in this particular type of business?
I've been in this, I want to say all my years. I have been, I'm a teacher by profession,
Perfect.
but I taught food, nutrition, and health. That's how I started.
Okay.
And it's just has been, this is me. And you would see I get all excited because I've been doing this all my life. From the time I know myself, I've been involved in spirituality and personal wellness.
Oh wow, that's wow. It's funny how we met because the way we met was because I met someone on Facebook that wanted me to do some teaching for them, and then they met you some kind of way, and then we were going to come to Trinidad where you originally were when I met you
Yes.
and do some classes there or whatever. So it's so funny how some people you meet and you stay connected with, and then some people you meet that you don't stay connected with. So I'm glad that we have stayed connected. Yeah, and that was what, like 7 years ago?
That is, it went around 2018.
Exactly. So that
Or,
was
or,
a
or
long
could be,
time.
no,
What?
before 2017.
That was a
Because,
long time
yeah, it's a
ago.
long time. It's a long
I
time.
knew it was like 7 or 8 years, but I kept asking myself, was that 18 or 19? And I knew it wasn't 19, so I said
Not
it's
19,
so it's 17.
2017.
Okay, well, that's pretty awesome. So tell me, I know that you've gone from being in Trinidad to being in Grenada. What are some of the exciting things that you have discovered since you've been there? Because you went and you stayed. So, what are some of the exciting things you've discovered, not just about the place, but about how you could grow your business?
Good. Well, one of the things I've been involved with is the Grenada Authors, Grenada Published Authors.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it's one of the first thing I got involved with as soon as I came home.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're doing quite a lot of activity now. In fact, on the 4th of July, there is a CARICOM Heads of Government meeting, and
Mm-hmm.
the authors are asked to be part of that. So we have a session involved with the CARICOM
Are
Heads
there a
of
lot of them?
Government.
Are there quite
Sorry?
a are there quite a bit of them?
Yes, well, the CARICOM Heads of Government have to do with all the ministers of the different CARICOM states. So it's something that it's international because they're making some really serious decisions in regards to into all our countries and
Right.
uh, changing policies and all those things. So yes, yeah.
Okay. Wow, that sounds pretty exciting. But you know what? That's very smart that as soon as you got to that area, you decided to connect with other individuals. That's so important because when you go to a new place, even if you have friends that are already there, you still want to make new friends so that you can build your own community there, right?
Definitely.
That's
And
pretty.
that's what I'm doing. My daughter has been actively pulling me in the things with her. It's amazing that we are on a mother-daughter show
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I've just as I land on there are things there isn't a weekend she hasn't as the year begun, pull me in on something. The
Mm-hmm.
last two was she did oh my, she did this stuff with her friends,
Mm-hmm.
and she pulled me in terms of, it was a birthday. I can't remember the activity, but
Yeah.
it's a wellness activity. So
Yeah.
she pulled me in. And
That's
then we have another, it started with my niece, and my niece invited her,
uh-huh.
and she pulled me on an organization. It's an NGO. We call it Grand Cap.
Uh-huh.
And we catered, the organization catered to women in particular, the minorities in our island, the LBGTQ.
Mm-hmm.
So they had a women's circle last Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
and they were in a wonderful session. In terms of, we had a doctor in there talking about the vagina.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty interesting session.
Yeah.
And in regards to collaboration, I hopefully will be doing some healthy cooking there with them.
Oh,
I
that's
want to introduce to the community there the African heritage
yeah.
diet.
Okay.
It's a beautiful program.
I was about to say that sounds very interesting. Now, is this going to be in person or is it going to be also streamed online?
This is going to be in person. I'm not sure
That's
if
exciting.
we get that opportunity to stream it, but it's going to be an in person.
That would be nice. Now,
So,
am I sensing that there may be some type of cooking show or cookbook coming up with that?
oh well, it's in the pipeline, definitely. There are lots of recipe guides that I have available, and it's internationally.
Okay.
But yeah, with that particular thing, I want our Caribbean people to really learn about their African heritage and be proud of it.
Exactly.
Because many times we think that especially in relationship to diet now,
Yeah,
I've heard folks say, it's not healthy and so on. And I want folks to understand that
it can be.
everything came from us, and it's when you go down to the roots, it's extremely healthy.
Right.
Steeped in plants, it's plant-based,
Yeah.
but you do have meat. Meat is mainly used more in a ceremonial way.
Right.
And so there's so much great things. And as I came back, there's a lot of exciting things happening, both on a personal front for me,
Mm-hmm.
and in regards to building community,
Right.
um, even both virtually and offline.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah.
So what's coming up in the future for you? What type of things are you working on other than, of course, the African heritage cooking and all of that? What else have you got going on with your business?
For my business, because I am transitioning, I'm pulling out a lot of things, pulling things online now.
Yes.
And what I want, but one of the things I really want to get done before before the half of this year, it's an event.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I planned that event out since last year,
Okay.
but somehow it didn't get. And it's simple. It's just a simple event, helping women again to tap into themselves. It's more of a self-recovery event
Mm-hmm.
where the women will come and just get the opportunity to share, and they will learn a little bit about their chakras, the
Mm-hmm.
energy center. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the main thing, a basic info. I'll be sharing with them also some of the elements that they can use. I'm big on the moon.
Yeah.
I'm big on crystals,
Yeah.
because I've seen what it has done for me personally.
Right.
And so I will share, if women, no one is saying you have to use it, but I've used in terms of personal wellness management, personal leadership management, I've used the moon cycle to help me with that. And it has changed my life in terms of how I manage my time, in terms of how I don't set goals, I set intentions.
That's right.
And I've seen them being realized in my life. So I want to share a little bit of that with folks in that event. I'm also sharing quite a bit about my book. It's a pretty light read. Very short.
What's the name of it?
It's Healthy Lifestyle Journey Journal.
Okay.
And that it's simply about, I share with, again, if you're at the beginning of your health journey, or your personal wellness journey, or you may be having a slump moment in your life, this is an excellent pick-me-up. So as you learn, I share a bit about the different types of meditation. Yes. I also share a wee bit on how you can tap into your intuition, explaining some of the tools that you can use and some of the things that can help you to get to that.
Right.
And I just have a list of some of the power foods that you can use. I call it the high vibe foods.
Okay.
For women who, in terms of they're dealing with trauma, and so just to get a little bit of how you can help heal those wounds from within.
Show us again, raise it up.
It's the healthy.
Very nice. Now, did you sent me the link for it, right?
I'm not certain I'd send the link.
Make sure you send me the link so people can use it. That would be really awesome. Well, thank you so much for being my guest today. I really appreciate having you on here. And I would love to make sure that we stay connected. And hey, you never know, maybe down the road we can do an event together like we were going to do before.
I would love that.
Pretty exciting because, one thing I am big on is the goal setting. I'm not only that, when I put a goal together, I teach people how to also reverse engineer it to get to what that end result looks like for you. I had to do it for myself at 25 years old when I decided, hey, this is what I want to do with my business and where I want to take it. And I want to be the first this, and this in my family. So I had to actually put that goal together and then reverse engineer it. And within 3 months, I had attained the biggest goal that I ever thought that I could. So maybe one day we can collaborate with some of these, some of the women and do some type of event that's going to really be worthwhile for women, because as women, when we empower other women, it just makes the world a better place to live. I keep telling people, there's no such thing as competition. My mind is only always on collaboration. I don't even, maybe I'm wired different, but I just don't even think of competition. I'm always thinking of collaboration and connecting and making sure that, everybody kind of has whatever it is that they want and they can get there on their own terms,
Yes.
Yeah. So I like that you also said that you work with crystals and all that, because again, that goes back into your toolbox. When someone says, well, what helps you to do this? And you can say, well, I have 2 or 3 tools these are my top 3 tools that I use. I have this crystal, I have this thing, and most people, they're not even thinking on that playing field. So to introduce something new like that to them, if it works for them, great. If it doesn't work for them, that's also great. But remember, they asked you what your tools were and you do what works for you, right? And I think that's what we all should be, is to do what works for us, but don't be afraid to have something new introduced into your life that may help you with whatever your journey is.
Oh, yes. So there are many different tools. I mean, you can use the flower. Essential oils.
Because the other day I put on some jasmine, and just all day I was, and that jasmine was just feeding my soul. And I was like, I needed this, whatever reason in my spirit 2 days ago, I needed to smell jasmine, whatever that was about. I needed to smell jasmine, because I went through all my essential oils and I was like, no, it ain't lemongrass today. No, it's not this. No, it's not that. I went through like 10 of them. And when I got to the jasmine, I was like, that's the one. So I put it on me and I just was sniffing my hand all day and going, I love the way this smells. And just all day it stayed on all day. So, again, going back to listening to your inner spirit.
Intuition. I was just going to say, I'm so happy that you did that.
Yeah, it's crazy that you can smell something in your body, goes, yes, That's what I want. You can eat something, your body's like, yes, that's what I needed. You can drink some good water and it's like, yes, that's what I needed. And that's again going back to listening to that intuitive part of yourself. And I admit, listening to that intuitive part, it can absolutely be scary when you don't incorporate the tools to be able to understand how to calm yourself down and just listen to what yourself is saying to yourself,
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean, a lot of folks think it's a science.
yeah.
Literally, it's a science. And it's not just about, a lot of folks would say, when I listen to myself,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I get the results that I want. That's one of the things that sometimes come up.
Yeah.
And I would say, did you really, calm yourself down before you actually tuned in? That's one.
Yeah.
And then again, sometimes when we listen to ourselves, we may not get that answer that we want or the results that we're looking for.
Right.
But that result that we got is the perfect result, because later on we realize that it worked out pretty well.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I love that you say, as soon as you said that, I was just like, oh my gosh, because I'll tell you something that happened to me back in May. I'm watching Bridgerton on Netflix,
Yes.
and my mind kept telling me, go to the store and get a mop. And I was like, yeah, but I could go tomorrow because it's already 5 o'clock. I'm already kind of settled at home. I can mop the floor tomorrow because today I'm just gonna wash it down and get it prepared for the mopping. And I laid down on my bed and I'm continuing to watch Bridgerton. And I promise you, without my permission, I got up and started getting dressed. I didn't even know I was getting dressed, but I'm getting dressed and I go, well, I already got my clothes on. I might as well go ahead and go to the store. So I go to the store and I get a mop. By the time I turn around, and it was literally a 5 minute deal. By the time I turn around to walk out the store, it's like somebody turned the lights out outside. We had a tornado coming and I didn't even know it because I don't watch TV, regular TV. I don't watch the news or
Yeah.
anything. So I get in my car and it's like it went from daylight to night within a second. I barely, barely, barely could get home. And I'm like, I told myself, see, I should not have gone to the store to get this mop because look what happened. Jocelyn, as soon as I pull into my driveway, a tree fell on top of me.
Mm.
And my intuition said, just start backing up, backing up, backing up. So I just started backing up and I'm not talking about a baby tree. I'm talking
Mm.
about a tree. I
Mm.
said to myself, if I had not listened to myself and gone to the store to get that mop, then the tree would have just demolished the car. But because I was in it, I didn't allow it to completely immerse itself onto the car because I backed up and moved away. And then the whole tree, that side of it, continued to fall down. And then my neighbor's
Mm.
tree also fell in my driveway.
Wow.
So I would have literally had two trees. My car would have been totaled. End of the story. So
Yeah.
that's one of those things that whenever, how we get in our head and we don't want to listen sometimes,
Yes.
anytime something comes in my head, I'm paying attention to it. And that's been me since I was a kid. But when you're a kid, you don't know how to articulate it. You don't know how to understand it. You don't know
That's
how
it.
to put it into a sentence or whatever to make people understand it. It's just like you're listening to your inner wisdom or whatever. I mean, even when I'm craving for
And then you they literally beat some of those things out of you
yeah.
when yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's kind of like when you have a dream of doing something and you plan that dream out, but then you say, "Oh, it's not working out. I'll do it another time." It will haunt you.
oh yes.
That's when you
Tell
know
me
you're
about
supposed
that.
to be doing exactly. I
Tell
knew
me
you
about
know what
that.
I'm talking about. It will literally haunt you. Like you said you were going to do this particular thing. You've been given all the tools to make it happen. You've been given, everything put in place, A, B, C, D, E, and then you just decide you're not going to do it. Why would the Holy Spirit give you that particular
Exactly.
thing for you to do nothing with it? That literally makes no sense.
Yeah.
So, but I do know, that it's easy to want to ignore that intuition, but I'm just going to encourage anyone who's listening, don't ignore the intuition because it's there for a reason, and
It
especially
is.
women, I think we even have it even more powerful just simply because the way we're made up, just
Yes, when reach
Yeah.
The research has shown that
Yeah.
ladies are more tuned in to the intuition,
Absolutely.
and because of um, us having to bring forth children,
That's right.
we have truly developed that aspect.
That is so true.
Because when it comes to our kids, we literally use our intuition to do certain things for them. If even we mothers, lots of mothers listen to their intuition and they know that, they feel something isn't right. And
That's
they
right.
know, it's time to do this for the baby.
Yeah.
Or so we do use it, but not all the time. And we are more, we are, as the feminine gender, tend to
Yeah.
be more in tune with it.
Yeah, that is so true what you say about mothers, because I was watching this movie the other day and the lady's son came up missing, and the cop said, well, it's been 2 weeks now. We don't know if we're going to continue the search. And she said, no, I know he's still alive. I can feel it. If he's not
Exactly.
alive, I would have a void, but I don't have that void. And do you know that a few days later, that boy came home? His mom was like, no, don't give up. She was like, no, don't give up on my son because I still feel his soul within me. She's like, I know my son is alive. And she was so adamant about it because they were like, well, ma'am, it's been 2 weeks. We're going to have to suspend the search. And she's like, no, he's still out there because I can feel him. And I was just like listening to that going, man, I wish people would, like you just said a few minutes ago, I wish they would tap in. I really
Yeah.
wish they would tap in because we have an intuition that is unexplainable.
Yes.
Well,
And it also helps even within the workplace, because a
yeah,
lot of folks don't like to take these topics into corporate and so on. But even within the workplace, tapping into your intuition goes
mhm.
a long way.
It does. Because I
Because
can walk into a room and I know if I'm
yeah,
supposed to be in that room or not, or who I'm supposed to even deal with in that room. I can, as soon as I hit the door, I scan, I know. And I don't know where
exactly.
that comes from, but I've always known.
Yes.
I've
It's
always known, and I network a lot. And so it really helps me out to have that tool within me to be able to know who I'm supposed to connect my energies with and who I'm not
mhm,
connect my
mhm,
energies with. And I'm so
mhm.
glad that I have that within me because there's a lot of people that I have disconnected because my spirit said, this ain't it. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. Thank you for accepting, my invitation to be here. And I am just wishing all the goodness for you with your new move and all the new changes and the new excitement of just doing something different and being in a different place and making new relationships. So thank you so much for being on our show today. Any last words?
Well, I just want to encourage people, and men as well as women.
Yeah.
A lot of times we tend to leave out our men. But I
Yes.
want to encourage us to fall in love with ourselves.
Yeah.
It's not a selfish thing to do.
That's a perfect message for Men's Mental Health Month. That's a perfect message. I love
Yes.
that. Yeah,
It,
yeah,
do listen to your intuition. Do the things, take small steps,
yeah,
small steps. And we hear a lot about gratitude.
yeah.
And I think to truly show gratitude is to truly tap into yourself.
I agree.
You realize when you tap into yourself so many different things that you can be grateful for.
Right. Oh,
So that's what I want to leave with folks.
yeah.
Truly fall in love with yourself.
I love it. Thank you so much. The best parting words ever. All right. All right, mothers and daughters. Well, down in the description bar, you'll be able to find her website, all of her social media links, and a link to her book. So make sure you tap in and find out more about your intuition as well. Thank you, Miss Joslyn.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. All right. Until next time.
Hey, ladies, this is your official invitation to join us on the Winner's Circle Cruise in January. We're going to meet in Fort Lauderdale and go through Key West. And then from Key West, we are going to go over to Bimini, Bahamas. If you have not been to the Bahamas in the last year or so, you've got to go. It is so wonderful, so lovely, so awesome. So far, we've got a good group of ladies that are already signed up. The max To go is 24, unless something wild happens, but 24 is the max. If you received the flyer from me, you know that you need to go ahead and get your deposit down. So we'll spend the first day in Fort Lauderdale getting on the cruise. It'll spend a day on the water. We'll get over to Key West, spend a day there. That'll be day 3. And then for day 4, we will be in Bimini, Bahamas, and we will spend an entire day there where we will just foo-la-la, foo-la-la, foo-la-la. And the final day, we will be back in Fort Lauderdale. I do suggest that you get to Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, the night before the cruise. I have seen people be left, so don't be one of them. Now, if you want to leave the day we get back, the cruise is going to be back. By the time you get off, it'll be 10. So if you want to book you a flight, book it after 10 or noon. You just saw the beautiful rooms that we are going to be booking. Yes, every room will have a balcony unless you declare otherwise. Now look at that water. Can you tell me you don't want to be there? Look at all of those good markets. You telling me you don't want to be with the Winner's Circle? The Winner's Circle is for women owners of businesses that want to get together with other women from all over different places to be able to mastermind, to talk about our businesses, to grow, to support one another, to hear others' perspectives on how you can do things different in your business to be the best business and to grow your business. Anything that you can't talk about with other people, this is a great time. Join us on the Winner's Circle Cruise.